Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, big news broke late last week. We were out in Illinois doing our road trip, and we wanted to do some pretty significant geeking out on the subject matter before we really said anything. But as you know, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, levied some very, very serious, and if true, very dangerous allegations against several high-ranking members of the national security team and former President Obama. It has a lot of people wondering, is there anything to this and could anything actually come of it? Well, today we're going to geek out on the law and we're going to figure that out together. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about, can Obama really be prosecuted for treason? Okay, hey, before we get going too far down the road we're going down, I want to remind all of you that we did all of our research for this video on GroundNews. Why? Well, because I like to be treated like an adult. I don't like the media to tell me how to think. I just like them to give me all the stuff to think about. Don't you appreciate the same thing? And you see, with GroundNews, I can check out all the headline manipulation. I can see who owns the stories. I can even check my blind spot to see which kinds of stories are being disproportionately reported by one side of the political spectrum. And right now, all of you can get 40% off the Vantage Plan, which will unlock all of the features they have at GroundNews by just visiting ground.news/Washington, or you can just scan that QR code right there. For more information and to finally get treated like a big boy or big girl by media, visit my friends at ground.news/Washington. Okay, America, you heard the news last week. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, levied some very, very significant, and if true, very, very serious allegations against former President Barack Obama, as well as other high-ranking members of our national security team. Just to give you a flavor of what these allegations are, according to Director Gabbard, the following occurred. Obama and his national security officials laid the groundwork for what was essentially a years-long coup against President Trump following his 2016 win over former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton by allegedly fabricating intelligence to imply that Russia had sought to interfere in the election. That's right, we're going all the way back to the Russian collusion hoax, which we know was a gigantic hoax. But who's responsible for it? Now, we've all had our suspicions. But Director Gabbard goes on to further then claim, the information we are releasing today clearly shows there was a treasonous conspiracy in 2016 committed by officials at the highest level of our government. Their goal was to subvert the will of the American people and enact what was essentially a years-long coup with the objective of trying to usurp the president from fulfilling the mandate bestowed upon him by the American people. So that's going to bring us actually to the subject of today's video, because we're not going to get into the allegations, and there's a long way to go with this, and there's a lot more things that are going to be hashed out, and there's plenty of other people out here in the YouTubeverse doing that. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to go through the applicable law here. Can President Obama and some of the other people named in these allegations, can they be convicted for treason? The only way to figure that out is to actually take a look at the law. Now, we're going to take a look at two laws today, and then we're going to take a look at a third term of art that's being kicked around quite a bit in the media right now. We're going to take a look at the crime of treason. We are also going to take a look at the crime of seditious conspiracy. And then we're going to explain the difference between those two laws and what is being referred to as treasonous conspiracy. Okay, treason. The only crime that is actually articulated in the United States Constitution, Article 3, Section 3, also codified in 18 United States Code, Section 2381, states the following. Whoever, owing allegiance to the United States, levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death, or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. Now, interestingly, treason has a proof element in which at least two people must actually testify to the treasonous behavior for a conviction to be upheld. But when we take a look at the treason statute, to either take up arms against the United States or to aid or assist some other international organization in their efforts to take up arms against the United States, whether the support is financial, logistical, or otherwise, I'm not certain that what is occurring here rises to the level as contemplated under 18 United States Code Section 2381. But then we get to seditious conspiracy under 18 United States Code Section 2384. Because now we might get somewhere here. I want you to know that the statute specifically states, if two or more persons in any state or territory or in any place subject to the jurisdiction of the United States conspire to overthrow, put down, or to destroy by force the government of the United States, or to levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States, or by force to seize, take, or possess any property of the United States contrary to the authority thereof, they shall each be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. Okay, I know it still seems like a stretch, and it very well may be, but when we break down this statute, 18 United States Code Section 2384, we see that in order to engage in seditious conspiracy, two or more people have to do one of the following. 1, overthrow, put down, or destroy the U.S. government by force. As vile as these acts may be, if proven true, I don't think it rises to that level. But let's pay attention to the next one. Prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States by force. Well, they absolutely positively did attempt to hinder, delay, basically obfuscate the entire office of the presidency, to illegitimize him, to absolutely positively thwart any agenda that he may have tried to implement. The problem is that we still see that it has to be done by force. And again, I don't see any forceful action. I see very deceitful action. I see very dishonest action. I see fraudulent behavior, all of that. But to say that any of this rises to the level of force, I'm not quite certain. And then finally, seize, take, or possess any property of the United States government contrary to its authority by force. And again, this really does not have to do with the seizure of property. So while seditious conspiracy gets us a lot closer to what may be actually prescribed as criminal behavior, I'm not certain that it's getting to where I know many of you want to see this go. And then finally, we have this new term of art, treasonous conspiracy. There is no statute of treasonous conspiracy. Now, you can have conspiracy to commit treason, and we could geek out on the conspiracy laws, but essentially it's two or more people planning an idea and then taking substantial steps in the advancement of that idea, which is otherwise criminal in nature. Treasonous conspiracy, I guess we could kind of define it this way. This term is often used to describe situations involving betrayal of the country or plotting against the government. In the legal context, it could refer to a seditious conspiracy with an intent that aligns with specific elements required to prove treason if it progressed beyond the planning stage to actual acts of war or aiding the enemy. So, in summary, if you're going to be charged with treason, we're going to have to prove that that individual levied war against the U.S. or gave aid and comfort to the country's enemies. And if we're going to convict someone of seditious conspiracy, we're going to have to show that they, amongst a group of people, plotted to overthrow the government or use force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States. So with that in mind, I want to hear from all of you. What do you think? Do you think they can be convicted of treason? Do you think any of these individuals could be convicted of seditious conspiracy? Or is there perhaps a wider array of crimes that we should be considering for what happened here? Because if all of these allegations in fact prove to be true, the fact that nobody would be held accountable would be almost as offensive as what they put the American people through. So we will carefully watch this story because, as we know right now, those caught up in it include former President Barack Obama, former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, former CIA Director John Brennan, and former FBI Director James Comey. So we are going to carefully watch this and we will keep you posted. Listen, if you got any other questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. But if you don't, that's okay. That information's down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, you click on that link right there and you tell us all about it. If you want to subscribe to the monthly newsletter, that information's down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, Let's everyone remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.